guys. You get like Marco Rubio. A lot of these guys obviously slagged Trump off.
Yeah. And Trump has slagged them off. I mean, it amazes me that...
They're all working, brother. It's wrestling.
Yeah. But this is again back to the point about Trump's personality and the psychopathy and the way that he can dazzle you. You'll see Trump getting up and publicly slating somebody. Joe Biden. I mean, the things that he gets up and says about Joe Biden, and then you'll see him meeting Joe Biden and be like, "Oh, hello, Joe. How's it going?"
Him and Obama were getting on like a house at fire at what's his face's funeral.
It's like, you said that your birth certificate was faked.
I shouldn't have said what's his face about Jimmy Carter, should I? That's sorry. But yeah, they got. I think Obama got some flack for that, for having a laugh about whatever they were joking about in Jimmy Carter's funeral.
I mean, well, it just goes to show you to a certain extent that some of the complaints that people have about politicians all being the fucking same and it being a fucking game and a work are true. How could you possibly... I mean, at least Michelle Obama didn't fucking go. I love Nancy Pelosi didn't go as well. She made some excuse, but we all know she would fucking roll herself in there if she was on a life support machine, if she wanted to be there. She's fucking hard as nails.
Oh, Mother didn't attend either, Mike Pence's wife, which is understandable.
Trump.
I watched that live actually, and Mike Pence was really stood about like a spear prick after the ceremony was done. They were all obviously like kind of, well, they have to wait for the coffin to be taken out, which takes quite a long time. And he was just sort of stood looking about and sort of trying to look for somebody to talk to, and everybody was just turning away. No one wanted anything to do with him. So I don't know if that was part of maybe, I don't know if Jimmy Carter had control over who sat next to who, but it was quite an interesting layout in terms of who everybody was sort of with, you know, kind of Democrats next to Republicans and so forth. I don't know if they've got an option about where they can sit or...
There would probably be a seating plan.
Yeah.
For these big events.
Anyway, yeah.
I'm surprised Mike Pence's wife let him out on his own.
I know.
There's other women there. I mean, it's dangerous.
Not allowed in the same room as other women without his wife. So he didn't say at the time that there were exceptions for funerals. So maybe this is a new rule. I mean, yeah,
It wasn't on his own though, was he? You know, so
She was watching the funeral on the telly, just looking at him, going, he better not be chatting to no bugs.
I was reading I was going to say book. It's more of a manifesto called the Hacker Manifesto by academic called Mackenzie Wark. This is probably like 20 years old or so. You can get it on YouTube. There's like an audiobook version of it, or it's quite easily available online. And basically it's a kind of updating of a kind of Marxist take on society. So instead of what in the past would have been capital was the most important thing in terms of like dividing all the you know, constituent parts of society, now it's more to do with information.
and attention.
Yeah. So she's said that there's these two extra groups that you can add into society, which is hackers, which is probably a term that's probably going to use now, but at the time, obviously 20 years or so ago, obviously that was like peak, you know, piracy coming into being because there's so much control now over IP and, you know, there's like Napster and all that kind of stuff was happening. Now you'd probably call it like, you know, creatives, or basically it was the people who are actually creating things and using information and, you know, bringing different sources of information together to create new things. So that there was that. And then the other group she's highlighted was vectoralists, which is basically the people who control the vectors of information. So, you know, your Jeff Bezos, your Zuckerberg, and so on.
It's like cloud feudalism that we've got now, where Bezos owns most of it. If you want to do anything under, you need to do business with him. He sets prices, and that's just it's like Marx did not account for the fact that it would not be Marxism that brought down capitalism. It would be a new, worse capitalism.
So that was really, as kind of perceptive, and like even now, like 20 years later, you can see it's absolutely come to light. You know, when I was watching the inauguration with all these guys standing behind Donald Trump, you know, it's like Bezos and Zuckerberg and Tim Apple.
Yeah, Tim Apple.
The TikTok guy was even there, I think, as well.
Yeah, the TikTok guy was looking at
Bezos' misses' tits.
It's like these guys, it's not just, because I said to you earlier, they had very sort of like pre-French Revolution vibes, because billionaires used to pull the strings behind the scenes for a reason, and the fact that they're doing it so brazenly out in the open, well, I'm not going to say anything that could be construed as inciting.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for.
So But it's not just, this is, people have been calling it like a tech oligarchy, but I feel like it's worse. It's more than that. It's these people have, we have them in our pockets every single day. The access that we have to information is moderated by them largely, because it's not just Elon got all the attention because that's what he has to do because he's a toddler, like an evil toddler. But the Google, Apple, Amazon, Meta, and X, formerly Twitter, Tesla, SpaceX, these are companies that we interact with on a daily basis, and they have control. They have algorithmic control. They have control over the flow of information. They have control over access. It's so much worse than they're the richest men in the world. It's the reason they're the richest men in the world is because we've created a system where they are integral to it. You can't. Yeah. I mean, we should all boycott Apple and Google and Meta. We should do that, but it's almost impossible to.
It is impossible to, and I mean, your options are so. Your options are negligible if you want to try and live in a modern society. I mean, it's all very well saying, "Oh yeah, boycott Amazon." Well, I mean that would be great, except that actually Amazon enables lots of people to run small businesses for themselves by being sellers in much the same way that eBay does. And to try and avoid using them is to so much of what we need and use on a daily basis is no longer available in shops because most of the shops have now closed down, or it's absolutely impossible to avoid giving these cunts money.
Yeah,
there's a weird tension as well between these huge corporations and their billionaire owners and like open source and like all that kind of stuff as well, because the two both need each other at the same time.
Yeah,
like you see with the AI stuff, particularly just now, they just really can't progress unless you have a whole group of people who are doing all the technology for free in their own time.
Yeah.
And trying to progress it that way.
And so much of the internet actually still rests on little fucking tiny things like that. Like I can't remember the name of it, but there's some fucking image translation thing that enables websites to simultaneously use GIF, JPEG, and PNG, and it's like one guy in fucking Dakota or something like that that's been like running it and maintaining it since fucking 1997 or something.
I mean, all these things, HTML, HTTP, HTTPS, these were all created open source by people who just...
Well, actually, Aaron Swartz, who you might know from, he created, one of the guys created Reddit, and is important in starting RSS as well.
Yeah, he was like 15 when he...
Yeah,
was involved in that.
Real journalist, basically. Brilliant guy, and obviously, Show can look into what happened, but he has done the same kind of accelerator program with Sam Altman. So it's like the two guys, you can see, are going in completely opposite directions. One guy wanted information to be free and open to as many people as possible for the benefit of all of humanity. Another guy wanted it for financial reasons for himself.
I love the fact that Sam Altman and Elon Musk are fighting with each other. Who's just like, let them fucking fight. But and this is and the worst thing about this is that, I'm so sorry, I have to say this, that Elon Musk is kind of right, because Sam Altman basically took like the OpenAI thing and it was meant to be a non-profit and is now just fucking coining it in and driving his $5 million car.
Elon Musk is technically right on the details, but Elon Musk doesn't care about...
No.
I said that. I said
it's infuriating to ever have to say that Elon Musk might be right about anything, but he is technically right.
Broken clocks and all that.
Yeah.
No, it's because he hates it and he hates the competition.
Yes.
So he's
right
use
for the wrong
anything.
Reasons.
Yeah.
But Sam Altman's also a dick.
Oh, he's on my shit list as well. It's getting longer by the day. I'm gonna need ChatGPT to divide it into sections for me.
And I mean, Jeff Bezos has done some good by divorcing his first wife and her basically cleaning his clock for half his fucking wealth. She's signed that pledge to give away basically all of her wealth in her lifetime. She has given untold fucking riches away to all sorts of charities. She's basically taken half of Jeff's money and is building roads and fucking curing diseases. She's given billions of pounds away already.
He really traded down, I think.
Aye. Yeah. Well done, Jeff. You've married somebody that you're always going to be looking over your shoulder to see who's looking at her tits.
Zuckerberg.
I remember, do you remember Nicolas Sarkozy? And he fucking ended up going out with some French pop star. And I always just remember, and immediately started, like, obviously being completely paranoid about whether or not, like his personal fitness and this, that, and the other. And I just remember David Mitchell saying, I wonder if that's as much fun as he thought it was going to be. Well done, idiot.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, it's a very, very small comfort because these people have the resources and the drive to cause a great deal of harm to a whole lot of people. But if you think you would get in, like, if you're like, well, we need to make these people's lives miserable, you don't have to. They make their own lives miserable. They're not a single one of them is a happy person. They're all miserable fucks.
That's why they've got untold billions and all they can think to do is find new ways to make the world worse.
Yeah.
That's not the behaviour of happy people. I mean, Jeff Bezos' first wife, is obviously really happy now because that's exactly what she is doing. She's doing what we'll say we'd do fuck me, if I was a billionaire, I'd go and do this. That's exactly what she's going and doing.
Yeah.
She's obviously clearly very happy to be rid of the twat. When are they going to Mars? They keep promising they're going to Mars. When are they going to Mars?
Hopefully any day now.
Asps. Very dangerous. You go first.
It's nothing new.
Well, I don't expect they're going to make it there, but I would like them to try.
Yes, I know. Like
Like,
John Paskin, whether or not anybody wants him to go swimming when he was asked if he was going to go and visit the fucking Potomac crash site.
Are there multiple?
Yes, Donald, go swimming.
Are there multiple like Mars people that want to do this? Because the last I heard, it was like one group of half a dozen,
Oh, Bezos.
and I thought they're all dead. They're all dead. They're gonna go mental in that wee capsule the whole way, aren't they? 'Cause it's gonna take years to get there, isn't it? And they're meant to be like, I'm like, would you not be better off like just waiting until I know we're kind of poo-pooing AI, but we'd probably be able to get machinery that could set up things first and then we go. But I think they're not doing that. They're sending the people first when there's nothing fucking there. And even if they make it, which I don't think they will, I mean, there's
It's
like
like
a go
9
mad.
months, Johnny.
9 months, that's
Like,
not bad.
Maybe stop killing the planet we currently have. Just stop killing our current planet and it'll be fine.
The irony is Mars is pretty much like the way Earth is going to end up. Yeah,
It's just like it's just speed runners.
Yeah, they can't make it back. If you go to Mars, you're stuck. You can't go back.
No, you can.
How?
it's not.
No, you would have to send extra rockets like without people first. You would have
No,
to like.
you can't get back because we wouldn't let them back in. It's just about that. No, you've been gone for 18 months and it's been lovely. We don't want you.
So is that the plan? The idea? So we're going to send like fuel there first, and then they can use that to refuel the fin and go back. All right, okay. I still don't think there's anything there. I think it's a big fucking waste of time. As you say, I'd rather focus on saving the planet that we actually have that works.
Yeah,
George one stone, get them to fuck.
this is the goggle of Frencham thing, though, isn't it? That we could get rid of a third of the worst people.
Sending people into space is the most pointless thing imaginable. It's like the biggest waste of money, but folk like it because they like the thought of them doing it. They imagine themselves being an
I'd like.
explorer.
I like Star Trek, but it's an allegory. That's the whole fucking idea. It's not meant to be like we're actually going to do that. That's supposed to be like a metaphor for what we're doing here. It's not meant to be that.
really, really like the idea that Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and maybe Zuckerberg and all the rest of it will get in a rocket and leave the planet.
Yeah. Or just.
He's just returning home.
I think that the wave of hope that the Titanic submarine incident gave everybody and thought, oh, this might be the way out of this. These rich bastards doing stupidly dangerous things for clout might be how we slowly get rid of them. So I think we've got that or the Luigi method, I think, are like the two paths. Third, maybe guillotine.
I did wonder whether or not we would get any kind of criticism for that, but instead it was all people going, yep, nailed it. Yep, fuck those guys. Yeah.
That's what I said. I think that the general consensus of everybody that I've spoken to in person about Luigi, you wouldn't know it's going by the media, but everyone on the streets like, I could see where he was coming from.
Yeah. One of my kids thinks that he's not the shooter.
Oh, well, okay. Strap in for this one.
And has read extensively on the subject, and I'm like,
Watch TikToks on the subject, probably.
so the thing is, when I first saw the photograph of him, as opposed to the photographs of like the guy looking up over the mask. My first thought was, is that him? And then I'm not great with faces, to be honest with you. I've got a little bit of a, if I've only met somebody like once and then I meet them again and it's in a different context, I'm fucked. I won't remember who they are. And people go, oh, hiya, how you doing? I'm like, oh, great. I'm just going to have to hope this conversation reveals who the fuck you are and why I know you. But I found myself thinking, is that him? So I can see why this might have developed. Also, the idea that perhaps there might actually have been a wee group of
I think that's probably quite conceivable. I definitely think he intended to get caught. I think he's wanted to become this martyr figure.
It's all gone very quiet on this story, it has to be said. But one of the things that...
Because they realised how fucking popular he was.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh, we better stop fucking broadcasting this kid.
Has he actually successfully been shipped across state lines to face any charges? Or
I have no idea.
Oh, he's definitely in New York because do
Yeah.
you not see the pictures of him getting helicoptered in and like Eric Adams, the mayor, was there and all that?
No.
It was like a
There's a
scene
quote.
from Independence Day with like it was crazy.
It was like
Somebody's
the cops.
next to a still from the new Superman film that they're shooting, but it's Superman in the handcuffs and all like the serious circles.
But anyway, my kid's theory was that that it was a deliberate setup, that a couple of them who kind of look enough alike that might be plausible had like one of them gets arrested, but will have a cast iron fucking alibi and none of their fucking prints and DNA on the gun, and meanwhile everybody's going, but it's definitely him. But I suspect that's bollocks. I just don't want to.
I buy a Luigi mask now,
It would be more handsome. But what are the rest of them doing then? There's just come on, chop. If you're still out and about, there's work to be done.
That's where the theory breaks down.
They're making a list. They're checking it twice.
Gonna work
The
out.
problem with rats, though, is you kill one rat and like 1,000 other rats are still there. It's very hard to exterminate them all.
Well, that we were joking about that a few minutes ago. Yeah, I think that what this will only lead to is the CEOs fucking wising up and going, oh yeah, we used to pull all these strings like in the background, not publicising ourselves. Yeah.
Saying bad, start eating each other.
Which is the space kind of theory.
Battle.
Yeah, aye. That's they all build wee space rockets and they all want to be like Captain Kirk. Then aye, on you just go. See how it goes out there. The cosmic indifference angle might be the way to go with this, because space doesn't give a fuck. It's just gonna fucking kill you.
I always loved in the Douglas Adams novels. There was the theory that the reason the Earth had been completely ignored by the rest of outer space was because we play cricket, and it's this. We don't realize it, but it's just this throwback to like the worst genocidal race in the universe from the planet cricket, and we're like playing it as a game, and everybody's just like, oh my god, they're barbarians.
I've never really got the space thing, the idea of wanting to go out ever. I've never really, on a literal sense, I don't really understand it.
You've never wanted to leave the planet.
No.
I'm fascinated by space, like learning about it and like all the. It's just so mad. It's just insane that we are in this ball flying through space.
Yeah.
We understand like less than 1% of any of it. It's just so mysterious and amazing. Like
I can be in awe of that. I can be in wonder when you look at like the galaxy spinning around and how like we're actually in motion like right now on Earth and all this other stuff. But when you look at that, it's like, that's fine though. I don't need to go there. So I can accept that, but I don't. It's like it's a deep ocean. It's like, all right, but not for me. Not for me.
I'm
not
obsessed. Like sharks are my favorite animal. I fucking love a shark. They're amazing. I don't really want to get too up close and personal with sharks. I can just observe them. They can be a little bit bitey.
Yeah.
Although not as bitey as people think.
but someone needs to get in the tank with a shark to learn about them so that you know about them. So,
And I salute that person. But personally, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because of the space stuff, I don't think we have to. Like, literally, a human has to go up to do it. Like, basically, what we did with Voyager when it was like sent out and it was just like broadcasting stuff out the way. If we can do that, but it's taking stuff in and sending it back, we'll be able to do this without sending. I don't know why you would sign up to a mission for Mars for 9 months in a capsule and then you're just stuck on a deserted planet. What are they going to do? Just to research? I know. I knew people in the Navy that worked on submarines, and that's weird. I'm not like afraid to do it and anything like that, but I mean, being under the fucking sea in darkness for months at a time, going
breathing in the farts of everyone else.
Wouldn't it be me?
I don't even like breathing in other people's vape fumes.
Yeah. I love submarine movies because I think that the environment, like it naturally you're gonna get like tension, like it's a great dramatic tool. But in terms of me being there, no, absolutely fucking not.
Anything
Absolutely
you can
not.
get folks stuck in one room together is like brilliant. You know, like
Yeah.
12 Angry Men.
Yeah, like porridge kind of concept, basically just locking people up and then seeing what they'll do. That's why I can think the Mars thing is going to go horribly wrong, because I know what humans are like. Yeah, it's like, there's no way in a tiny wee capsule for 9 months these people aren't going to start wanting to kill each other.
Especially when it's the worst people in the world. There's no way they're fucking managing.
I'm not opposed to space travel. Like, I'm not opposed to the idea of it. Would be good if before we decided to pursue these loftier goals, we like ended homelessness.
Yeah.
We like sorted some shit out here.
Yeah.
Stopped the world from actively burning down. Like those things, I think there are resources that could be redirected to actual things that would help actual people.
That's kind of my take on religion as well. It's like, can we just solve the problems? Like when everyone's fed and we've got the basics down, then we can talk theology. But can we just get sorted first? And it's the same thing with space. Like as you say, the big lofty stuff is like, can we just, get the basics in place first before we do that?
And I understand why, but I really, really resent holding the position that human beings should be housed and fed and shouldn't be in a position where if they don't work, they die. I think that's just a normal baseline position to have. I think that's like, if you have not fucked up brain chemistry, that's like a neutral, that's a neutral position to have. But that's like, no, that's a you've taken a real strong leftist political stance there. But right, what's the opposite of that stance then? Because you sound like a psychopath. Not only do you not advocate for those things, but you revel in the fact that people have less than you, and it makes you feel better about yourself. I don't understand it. It's just so deeply, like, what's going on in your psychology there?
To be a billionaire and not be giving it the money away and doing something good with it is in and of itself some sort of mental illness, I think. I just, like, hoarding things is, hoarding is a mental illness, and being a billionaire is a form of hoarding.
It's the billionaire defenders as well.
I think that's probably actually what's changed more than anything else, because you notice that in a lot of things. Now I remember when that happened in like even like kind of the film business, when I never remember growing up hearing really anything about the box office, and then I think it was when one of the Marvels beat The Dark Knight, and like everyone was like, yeah, go Mickey Mouse, you've done, yeah. I'm like,
$1 billion, the message.
yeah. And now it's like the metric, rather than like, is the film good? Are you enjoying this as like a piece of art or entertainment? It's now, yeah, but how much money is it making? And this is happening in TV ratings as well. But the audience would never talk about the ratings. But now it's like, well, how do you draw the main audience? How do you do this? Going, what are you on about? You don't work for these companies. Why are you talking like that online?
It's the same sort of, in the same era, how much people were spending in the shops at Christmas became the news story, as opposed to the fact that it was fucking Christmas.
Yes.
And that's all that's, like, people shopping is now a fucking subject on the news.
Yeah. Because people aren't talking about, like, it's not even popularity. It is actually like, because there's things that could be popular like, in a bubble, that they're talking about how much money it's making. It's not that there's a lot of films that are really successful at the box office, but most folk haven't actually seen them because they're just drawing money off of a very set fixed demographic.
Yeah, I haven't bothered going to the fucking cinema in so long, because whenever I look at the billboards, all it seems to be is robots hitting each other.
We were talking about Taylor Swift briefly. I don't want to get too sidebarred, but we, before we started recording, we're talking about that and how, again, we're like, I mean, yeah, but we don't get that in the way that how we are not the demographic that she's making money off of, including most folk I don't think are.
It's slightly more understandable with, like, pop culture icons. If you can feel what they are trying to stand for, they might have like certain political opinions or just their attitude to things. You can sort of tune into that and think, right, that's a subculture I want to be part of. What's less understandable is, like you said, like folk who are fanboys of like Apple or Disney or whatever for these big corporations. It's like, why are folk feeling like that's the subculture they want to cling to?
I can't explain that. That's the thing. I mean, I can look at it and observe it and know that's happening, but the kind of like Disney adult type thing is just, I don't know what the fuck's going on there, because it is so monetary and financed. It's like they're reveling in the cruelty of business. It's like, you know, we're the audience. We enjoy the show. The business is irrelevant to us. What are you talking about?
They're not
Yeah,
paying you.
and I don't get the simping for that.
Some of them are getting a cut.
Well,
The-
you
the
couldn't.
Tesla fanboys are getting.
Well,
Yeah, the influencers are getting a cut. That's true.
I mean, you couldn't pay me to prostrate myself like that. Are you not embarrassed? It's just
I think it's the Tesla thing is more precarious than I think a lot of people realize, because I was reading there's a great blog on the FT called Alphaville, and some of it's really quite sort of technocratic money stuff that is beyond me, but whoever reads it is the snarkiest fucker in the world, and it can be really, really funny. And they had a piece on Tesla and the valuation of Tesla, because it's 1.4 trillion it's valued at. And effectively they were putting out what ought to be obvious, which is that Tesla owners are now buying stickers for their Teslas to say, we bought it before we knew he was a nutter. Which means that person's going to not buy another Tesla.
there are entire countries who are like, yeah, we're just not.
No.
We're all just boycotting Tesla now.
Yeah, exactly. And, you've got things like, I think it's Polestar, which is the sort of Volvo China project. They are fucking amazing looking cars, and they're sort of the same kind of price range as Tesla, with a much better build quality. And you've got Volvo on there. They're going to be safe. They're going to be and Chinese tech on the battery technology and stuff. So there are alternatives now. If you want a really plush EV, you don't have to buy a Tesla. There's something else. So over time, there is not gonna that valuation is not gonna hold up at all. Because the people who were buying Teslas were wealthy liberals who wanted a good car, wanted a good clean car. They're never buying a Tesla again. And they don't need to. They can buy something else.
Twitter's going to die. Tesla, yeah, you've just outlined that. I know that Starlink has been in quite bad trouble, but I think that might correct now that he's got some influence in the White House, because I know that the Biden administration, I think a lot of the stuff to do with sort of Ukrainian government funding, that didn't go through, and I think a lot of their business model was quite reliant on the US government kind of propping up Starlink. I think that might change potentially with Trump. I don't really know the details of that. But yeah, the direction of travel in terms of Elon's businesses is not positive, which is probably why another reason he's attached himself so much to this mad political thing, because in terms of an actual, what he prides himself allegedly on being, this successful capitalist, as we've outlined numerous times, if you scratch the surface of that, there isn't actually much evidence that he is the thing that he's championed.
I think he is also mentally ill, and I think we need to discuss this. That
I think he might commit suicide, or can I say that now on YouTube? On a live, whatever we say now.
Don't ever say on a live, or I will leave you right now.
He's gonna kill himself, YouTube algorithm.
You might get the reason that a lot of people use that is because automatic fucking algorithms are pulling content that says die. But
He's gonna
no,
die.
I'm fucking sorry. Do or die. Fucking stand back. No, we're not saying on a live.
He strikes me as a guy with a really severe drug problem, the kind of drug problem that might destabilize, and he's the worst kind of drug addict. He's the guy that thinks he can handle the drugs when he can't, and that's normally a clock is ticking before something might happen there.
I see what you mean, and I agree completely about the drug habits, but I think he's far too much of a coward and a narcissist to do that. But what I can't see happening is him simply
ODing or
but he's clearly mentally ill, and nobody is saying this. I mean, it's like do you remember fucking Neil Oliver, when Neil Oliver went down the fucking rabbit hole and was tweeting things about the cameras and the fucking self-checkout area in Sainsbury's, watching him, and we're all laughing because he's gone like fucking, but it's like, we actually need to be saying there's something needs to intervene here. He's not well. I mean, he's like, we're all laughing because he was an asshole beforehand, but he's actually not well.
It's so difficult to tell though, because it's either it's like, okay, is this person genuinely mentally unwell, or are they just grifting to a huge dumb base who are really easily parted with a
I think he's unwell, and he's so isolated from anybody that is actually in a position to tell him off.
Or even anybody normal. Like, when was the last time do you think he ever? I mean, he interacts all the time with the bots on X for.
I think that this is where sort of my theory on it comes from, is that I think he strikes me as a guy that he's formed like a shield in his head. There's certain people you deal with where they cannot self-evaluate, they cannot look inwards to sort of find the flaws in their own personality to improve. There's just a fucking wall there, and because they know that if I remove one brick from that, the self-loathing monster's going to come out. And I read him as a guy that deep down fucking hates himself. And I think that there could be, with the drugs being involved here, there could come a tip point where that monster gets out. And
the fucking hair implants and the fucking cheek remodeling so that he doesn't fucking, because he's obviously always looked in the mirror and hated what he saw.
And there's always got to be an enemy with these people. There's always got to be drama, because as long as there's all that happening, you can't stop and think, the reason why I'm unhappy is because of me. So you get suckered in all that. Yeah. So you're saying he's mentally ill. Like, yeah, I think he's always been an asshole. Yeah. But I actually think he's in a mental health crisis. Yes.
Yeah. And I think doing things like doing fucking Roman salutes on I said it funnily, so I know. Like doing fucking Nazi salutes live in front of people is an indicator that the filter has gone. The little bit that says, like, I'm an asshole, but I've got to project myself in this way. That bit's gone.
Yeah, like showing up at AFD rallies and saying Germany needs to stop feeling bad about the past and be proud of being German. He also, when he started that video broadcast, he went, can everyone put your hands up if you can see me and hear me? At the neo-Nazi rally in Germany. But this is just fine, isn't it? It's all fine.
Richest man in the world.
South African billionaire based in America zooms in to fucking AFD neo-Nazi rally. I didn't think this was how this year was going to go, frankly.
The problem is that you're in a situation where somebody, like the king is mad.
Yeah.
And he's too rich and powerful for anybody to fucking catch him in a big butterfly net and put him in a padded room.
Oh, big butterfly net would be a great solution. Has anyone pitched that yet?
If they murdered someone, like, 0 people would be surprised. If a woman gets shot in his house or something like that. Like,
yeah, and let's look at how that went for Reva Steenkamp. Like, what happens when?
No, it'd be like, no, Elon just hilariously memed a bullet into that girl's face. Like,
what's he like?
I mean,
a bullet-like object entered
her brain.
Something resembling an army has entered Poland. We're like, where are we gonna go?
I did see like that. Yeah, guys, everyone calm down. Elon's just autistic. Autistic people generally, sometimes some of them have a real issue with invading Poland.
I've got to say. I mean, like, I've always wanted to.
It's my hyperfixation.
I take so much, as an autistic person, I take so fucking much offense at that, because yes, as an autistic person, I quite often miss that somebody is being sarcastic, or, like Ford Prefect, I don't notice unless I'm paying attention, or I'll miss nuances, or I'll suddenly realise that someone's looking at me funny, or I've said something and people are looking at me funny because the thing that they've not realised that I'm making a joke because I've said it in my fucking flat monotone tendency that I do. But that is not the same as being a racist cunt. Yeah. Can we just say it's nothing to do with it at all?
I know I've said it a few times on the podcast, but I was joking. I've actually never seen any of you guys hit the Heil Hitler. So that's, a good indication. You probably know lots of autistic people. You probably don't know that many of them that just go about accidentally throwing up Nazi salutes.
No, if you think it's all right to do that, go and do it in front of your boss. Go and do it on the bus. Go and do it in a public place anywhere. See how far you can fucking get before someone lamps you.
Yeah.
It's also like even like the Nazi pug guy, I remember him, but like at least that was done somewhat within the context of like a joke. And
yeah, although he did then fucking join you.
I know, but what I'm saying is, but like,
just saying
that the thing with Elon was like this was more akin to a kind of Dr. Strangelove moment. But you are one of them though.
Yeah.
Like, it's not funny when you do it. Like, if Charlie Chaplin does that shit, then it's funny because he's making fun of the pricks that do that. Whereas you're it. You are the guy.
It's okay to be an actor and play a Nazi in a film or whatever, where the Nazis are bad.
But I mean, I don't think there's any great sort
Where the Nazis are bad, yeah, as opposed to like the movies where they're the goodies.
there's not like a hidden like overarching strategy to what he's doing. It's so he's just a ping pong ball that goes back and forth between like to the racists who love him the most that day. So obviously it was like sucking up to the American far right white supremacist movements, and then they got annoyed with him about the H-1B visa thing. So then that was when he started the whole Tommy Robinson grooming gangs thing, because he was like, okay, well the American racists are really angry at me now. Hey, England, will the Gammons embrace me? And of course the Gammons embraced him. And then to get back into the good graces of the American white supremacists, Heil Hitler, and yeah, back in with them now.
He's very interested in reactions, because that's a lot of that is distraction, and it's not to downplay kind of what he's done or anything like that, but it's also like when we tend to zone in, we're like, actually this guy's a total fraud. Like, he's stupid, he's a drug addict, he's got massive mental health issues, and he's just not good at the things that people tell us that he's good at.
A stupid person.
So that's what we always drill down to, but the media are like, oh, he's done a mad salute, what the fuck? They're all talking about all this noise that he himself is generating, so you don't just go. We were talking off mic about, you know, how if you set certain characters in Glasgow, they don't work, and how if he was around here, you'd just be like, why are you being like that? Why are you like that? Because like the Nazi salute thing is that the energy of outrage is almost, it kind of almost creates a bit of the problem. Whereas if you're just there, it's like, why are you doing that, you fucking freak? Stop being weird.
Glasgow, like, I'm actually one of only 2 people outside of China who are in the top 20 of Diablo 4 players. And be like, are you?
Yeah, we would just bully him, and he just couldn't do what he did. He would just be told, there's no way. He could not move up the chain, because it would just be like, shut the fuck up. Yeah. But the way that the media have covered it, because it's so sensationalised, whilst missing the critical point of this dude's just a bit of a Dumbo nerd, like, that's part of the problem. So I think that needs to be more the mantra, that we can't lose sight of the fact that these people are incompetent nerds.
You would think that they would have learned their lesson after Bankman-Fried, because they were doing all these like cut pieces about him and like, boy, genius, and oh, he's so clever that when he's in these really important meetings with really important people talking about highly technical things, he's sitting in the meeting on Zoom playing his Game Boy, because that's how clever he is, because he can play his Game Boy at the same time as he has these meet earliers. And then
it turns out it's actually just a Ponzi.
Did you consider the reason he's playing the Game Boy is because he has a room temperature IQ, and he needs to play the Game Boy because he doesn't understand what anybody's saying?
And that this ends up being a brilliant mask.
But it's like, right, what lessons did we learn from that?
No.
Oh, none? Again? Okay, let's run this again. We'll take the most obviously stupid man in the world, Elon Musk, give him a lot of money, and then, right, what do you think of him? He must be a genius. No, we can't keep doing it. It's not again.
I think Americans must get a lot of their ideas about people from like films they've seen and stuff like that, like their archetypes that you get.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard this recent podcast about seriously autistic people, and the idea is that they've got sort of ESP and they're able to like communicate using their brain and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's been with like the top rated podcast above like Joe Rogan and all that, and it's absolute bollocks. The whole thing is just ridiculous.
Are you sure? Because we're doing ESP.
It's basically it's like
Later, babe.
in the podcast itself, like she's the person who hosts it is like trying to make out like it's done really scientifically and all this, but subsequently folk have watched videos of what's been going on, and it's like the person's mum's been like holding up a card for the person to point at, and this has been debunked over and over and over again. Like
This
that
is
kind
just
of
Clever Hans the horse, isn't it?
exactly.
Right? Do you know? I think it was in the 19th century. It was a horse that was believed to be able to count, but it was actually just picking up on the body language of its owner.
Yeah, so knowingly or unwittingly, you know, if you've got another person involved in the process, it's unscientific.
That's why identity parades, or you know, if you're showing a victim of crime a photo array, the person in the room with them should not know who the suspect is, because if a horse can do it, so can you. Yeah.
So I mean, I think part of the reason these things come about is because people do have this image of the kind of idiot genius, from media, from like watching Rain Man
started
and
with fucking
stuff
Rain
like
Man.
that,
I'm
yeah.
about to say it started with fucking Rain Man.
So, guys like Bankman-Fried and Elon Musk, they've got this idea that, well, they must be like a genius because look how weird they're acting. Like, you wouldn't be like that unless you had something really going on in the background that we can't really see. So I think that's part of it.
I suppose just like going outside your house and realising that's just what most people are kind of like. There's a lot of weird folk walking about here and none of them are geniuses.
So there's a lot of assumptions about these kind of archetypes of types of people. I think that's like where Trump has been successful, that he's put himself up as this great successful businessman.
Yeah.
It's
Dress for the day you want.
the
rather
self-made
than-
man. It's the most the strongest American archetype there is.
Well, that's literally the American dream thing, isn't it? That anybody can make it, except they've managed to design a society where almost nobody can anymore.
Well, I think that's probably where I was saying earlier on about why I don't understand why you get these simps for like the big corporate.
You get these simps because of that, because they all think secretly that they could be that too. Well, yeah, maybe if you inherit a fucking emerald mine.
So many temporarily embarrassed billionaires.
Because it's so many podcasts about like people that are clearly like thick as mints, mainly their audience, but like, oh, now I know how to get ratings on a TV show. Now I know how to draw money at the box office, and they never do fucking nothing. But it's like they're buying into these really shit podcasts that are trying to download the secret codes to how you crack the entertainment business or whatever the fuck it is, politics, the financial system, crypto.
Having talent.
Yeah, it's like, to the Laura special, just get good. Just get good. But they won't actually do any of the one foot in front of the other bit things to forward their lives into being better. So what you create is, it's like a trick. You're telling the people that are subservient to you, your slave class, here's how you move up the ladder. You just lie to them. So they're thinking, all right, I'm a slave now, but eventually I can climb the ladder because this great God has descended to give me the information to allow me to do it. And there's no way the guy in charge would lie, would he? So, I mean, you're a fucking mark. You're a fucking mark.
For telling me lies so that I remain
can't. And it's like kill all analytical thought to get them to it's because rather than analysing the information, the reality of what's in front of them and trying to think their way out of the problem, they're just not thinking and echoing, regurgitating the baloney version they're hearing in all the podcasts.